So next area I went to was Jardim Casqueiro, which is no longer in the São Paulo South Missions in Santos. That was probably the most unique area I've ever been to. It's a very interesting place. You have an area of middle-class people, some nice houses, and then just you cross this one little bridge and you go to what's called a favela in Brazil, which is just like a really ghetto, rundown, poor area. And this place, this ghetto favela, is called Vila dos Pescadores, and it was one of the craziest places. It smelled like a combination of fish and garbage and marijuana and poop. It was very dirty. It was built, about half of the favela was these little wooden shacks that people built above the lake, the water, and they would just throw their garbage out into the side of into the water on like stilts, like wooden stilts, and then they had these like little wooden bridges that they built if you wanted to get to everyone's houses. So just really poor, rundown area, a lot of interesting people. The reason why people live there is because they get free water and utilities from the government. They live in an area like that. You'd run into some really odd people. There was one time where we were walking to a member's house for lunch on a Sunday after church, and this guy runs out of this bar, and he doesn't have a shirt on, and he's like, "Elders, come with me. I need to show you something. Or I want you to come talk to me in my house." And so I and my companion, I was training at the time, so the guy is American, he was really new, this is his first area. And so we go to this man's house, he lets us in, and we walk in, and there's just kind of like this weird feeling, and there's like a table flipped upside down with all this stuff on top of it. It's just a weird atmosphere. And he ends up grabbing this lock and he puts it on the door. And fortunately, my companion had the mental capacity and reaction time to quickly grab his arm and pull it off and then open the door. And then we were like, we gotta go. And so we walked out. He ended up grabbing this newspaper and running after us, telling us to look at it. It was like he was in the newspaper for something, and he was trying to get us to read this newspaper, and we were just like, okay, we don't want to talk to you. Leave us alone, please. And eventually he just left. But you meet, like, that area, I met a lot of weird people, had a lot of weird experiences with some people. So that area, it has those two, it has Casqueiro, which is like a nicer area. There's some big houses. There are actually some really wealthy people that live there. It's right next to this favela I talked about, where people are really poor. Then there's a couple other parts. You can walk over to another area called Jardim República, and that's basically got some apartments, some other houses. And then there's another area that's really far. You either have to walk quite a while or take a bus. And there's like one or two members over there that hasn't really been proselyted a lot just because it's so far away from everywhere. When I was there, they didn't have a church, so we would have to get people to get on a bus, take it over to Cubatão, which is the next closest area, and we'd go to church there. I believe that currently they have, I think it's just someone's old house or something where they can hold meetings. I believe that they're still using that.